You're listening to Project 35, a project that I'll be interviewing 35 women coming from different countries and backgrounds. So let's listen to their stories and cheer them on their own unique journey. And I hope you will enjoy it as much as I do.
Hi Iman, how are you doing today?
Tiffany, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. And first of all, thank you so much for being a part of my Project 35. So just to share with you a little bit background about this, the Project 35 is a way of me celebrating my 35th birthday. And why now, why 35 is basically this year is a very special year for me where I have started to really stepping up out of my comfort zone and living more in alignment with my purpose. And I still believe it's a journey, where there's a lot of things to learn and a lot of unexpected things might be unfolding in future. At the same time, I realize that there's a lot of ladies around me, within and beyond my circle are also going through their journey. And there is a quote I really love is that life is a journey where there'll be problem to solve, there'll be lessons to learn, but the most important experiences to enjoy. And today I would love to hear your stories, your journey. So would you like to share with me and all of the audience listening to our conversation today about yourself, maybe about your work, your hobbies?
So first of all, let me say happy birthday, Tiffany. And I love the idea behind this project. Thank you so much for making me a part of it. So first of all, I was born here in the U.S., but then I went to I was raised in Egypt, and I came back to the U.S. 3 years ago. My background is in HR, recruitment and training, but then I wasn't really, I reached a place where I wasn't really happy with where I'm at in life. I was very stressed. I wasn't happy with my job. I felt that I'm doing all the right things, but still I wasn't feeling, that satisfaction from what I'm doing. I had a good career. I was like, my family is healthy. But I was going to the gym, I was eating good, but still there was something always missing. I felt that I don't really want to be working in the corporate life for the rest of my life. So that's when I really started to, really dig deep, connect with my true self and really just see what am I passionate about. So I kind of like connected with everything that my experience is all about, like my experiences in recruiting, talking to people all the time, listening to them, finding their dream job. So all the strength that I took from my previous experiences, that's when I wanted to apply it, and put it in something that would be kind of like my own business. And I started to search what exactly that could be. I also noticed that I'm always keen to learn about different type of foods, things about nutrition, because I also come from a family with chronic diseases. My dad who lost his battle against cancer in 2011, and then I have my mom who is diabetic, and then I also actually all my the side of my mom's family they all have diabetes, so I kind of have a family history of chronic diseases. So I'm always on the lookout to see what nutritional benefits that I can, things that I can change in my diet, things that I can improve with my health, because genes are really important. Maybe they're not everything, but they are very important when it comes to, we are more prone to chronic diseases if we have a family history of such diseases. So I'm always keen to learn more about nutrition, keen to know about like what can I do to change this cycle and not have, not follow the same. So that's when I started to, just see what can I do about it. And that's when I found Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I decided to, study about nutrition. What I loved about IIN is that they have this concept of primary food and secondary food. And I really learned that it's not all about nutrition as I thought, and it's not all about just going to the gym or eating good. It's so much more than just the nutrition and the physical activity. It's about like creating healthy relationships, building healthy relationships, creating healthy habits, uh, creating a joyful and mindful practices each and every single day. So I learned a lot from IIN, and that's when I started to um, apply the things that I'm learning and to help myself. And I found that it did really benefit me a lot, because I learned about how the brain is so connected to our gut health, so how nutrition is so important. when it comes to, the gut brain connection. It's called the innate nervous system. It's a network of nerves and neurotransmitters along the entire digestive tract, through the stomach, intestines, and down to the anus. So the brain has a direct effect on the stomach and the intestines. For example, the very thought of eating can release the stomach's, juices before food gets there. And it's the same way around. The connection goes both way. If our intestines or our stomach is troubled, this can also send signals to the brain, which causes anxiety, causes depression, causes us to have mood disorders. So this gut health and brain connection really, encouraged me to really focus, learn more about nutrition, as well as it's so important to focus on the mindset and building healthy lifestyles, because also reflecting on ourselves, connecting with our deeper selves, learning more about us. Sometimes we actually, our behaviors and the way that we think now is caused because of a lot of trauma that we didn't even know it existed. So just connecting with ourselves in a deeper level, this is also so critical to our health. So all this knowledge that I learned and the things that I was able to, how I was able to heal, myself, I found it really helpful to me. And that's when I tried to reach, that's when I started reaching out to my family, friends, and see how I can help them. And when I found that they are actually like, we are seeing successful results, that's when I wanted to share this with the world. Like, okay, let me just turn it to a business and help as much women as I can to feel less stressed, to boost their energy levels, boost their moods, just live a happier and healthier life, and manage their time. We all know the things that we should be doing. We know what foods that we should eat, what are the things that we should do, but sometimes we lack the how to do it, and the support and
Mm.
the yeah. So that's when I started to, this holistic health coaching journey, and yeah, I'm loving it so far.
That is really, really great to hear. And, I really resonate with a lot of things that you mentioned, especially the connection between our physical health, digestive system with our emotion, our stress. And you also mentioned that, once you become a coach, it's also coming from the fact that you have family members who also having, issues with health. And once you become a coach, you started to help them, and you started to see, amazing results in terms of health improvement. And I think you also mentioned along the way is that you started to heal yourself, and that is something that I've realized as well. When I first become a coach, the very first person that we started to heal and to coach is ourselves. So is there any a time that you started to realize, that wow, I didn't really realize that I have this in me, I didn't realize that there's so much things about this area of life that I haven't healed yet, and I have so much work to do. Is there a time, or there's any area of your life that you started to realize that?
Yes, yes, I do realize this all the time. I do realize this all the time, especially when it comes to the relationships. This is something that I notice all the time, like how I talk and how I think, even how the way that I talk to myself, I didn't know how it really affects the way that I deal with other people. And just, healing internally and healing my mindset and coming from a place of love, and, a free judgment space that I give to myself first before, giving to others, and just connecting with myself and understanding my emotions. This has helped me a lot with dealing with other people. I remember like when I used to get my, so PMSing, we women, we go through a lot of hormonal changes every now and then. So during these hormonal changes, you get a lot of, mood changes as well that comes along with it. So just I used to really have big fights with my friends or my family whenever I go through these emotions and those hormonal changes. But now I don't do that anymore. Like really healing yourself internally and connecting with yourself and understanding your emotions and taking a break and knowing, okay, I'm actually feeling this way because of this and that. So understanding the root cause of why you're feeling this way and why you're acting this way, I think really helps a lot with, having healthier relationships, not only with yourself, but with others as well. So yes, I do feel that all the time. I'm
Mm.
like, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I knew this sooner. I and I wish I knew a lot of things sooner, because also like sometimes I wish I knew about nutrition and the primary foods, and how, and our mindsets, and all these things, like even when my dad got diagnosed with cancer, like I wish I knew these things. I feel like if I knew these things maybe earlier, I would have helped more people. But
Mm.
again, like we still have a long life to live, and we still have the people that we love around us, and we can only, start now and not give up.
I see. Yes. So you mentioned a lot of words like self love, self acceptance, and once you've learned about all of this, you started to realize that there's change in you, the way that you react to people around you, and so I'm just curious, once you decided to slowly shift into being a health coach, how how did your friends and your family reacted towards that news, like are they supportive, are they surprised, or is there any questions around why and like the changes that you becomes after being a health coach?
So I can say that the journey I was supported 100%. I feel like they were the well, health coaching is a new thing. It's not something that has been there forever. So anybody who was, you know, knowing that I'm gonna be a health coach, or I'm studying for health coaching, they're like, what is health coaching? What does a health coach do? We're all like, we're familiar with terms like a life coach, or a nutritionist, or a dietitian, or we're familiar with other terms, but the term of holistic health coach is very new. So not a lot of people knew what I'm talking about, and they're like, how are you gonna be like successful in this business? What are people gonna come to you for? So really, just I guess they didn't know how important it is until they really started to see the change in how I and like in how I act, or the way that I think, or the things that I eat, and how, like, when I started to educate them. I feel like you make that change when you're educated enough. Like you can't really force someone to believe in you, or someone to support you, or someone to change themselves until they see results.
Hmm.
So once they started to see results, and like my skin, like how my skin looked like compared to before, or my energy levels, or my stress levels, or the way that I speak to myself, and the way that I speak to them. So seeing these results and those shifts, that's what made them more supportive to my journey.
Hmm. I see, I see. Yeah, and I think another one things that I've also noticed, I think it's not just in the context of being a health coach, but in general, being a woman. I feel a lot of time we actually playing small on ourselves, because of limiting belief, because of certain belief around that we are not enough, we are not good enough, we are not knowledgeable enough. And I feel that a lot in terms of my working career, and also in my personal life with relationship with my daughters, and relationship with people around me. How actually do you deal with that? Like what are the ways, or is there any tips or technique actually helping you to actually overcome this kind of limiting belief in yourself? Yeah.
I just like focus on myself.
Mm.
I feel like focusing. I used to live up to people's expectations, like what they expect me to do, what they expect me to say, how do they expect me to react. But
Mm.
this is so exhausting. This is so exhausting, and it's not healthy at some point, because it doesn't really affect them as much as it affects you and your mindset, and the way that you talk to yourself and think about yourself. So I guess I dealt with that by just always focusing on myself, grounding myself, anchoring myself, and just I did a lot of mindful work, a lot of meditation at the beginning of my journey, just trying, to connect with my authentic self and see what exactly do I need at this moment to feel better, and what exactly do I believe myself to be. Just, when you want to change and become somebody else, you change your whole identity,
Mm.
right? So you really want to decide who the person that you want to be, and then just mute everything around you,
Mm.
and focus on making actions and doing things that would to prove that you are the person that you want to be, with doing small things. So I dealt with that by just ignoring. I respect everyone's opinion. I'm really open to listening to anybody's opinion, and I do respect everyone. I respect my family's opinion, my friends, and everything. But
Mm.
at the end of the day, what what really matters to me is what I think about myself.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, it's only about me. It's not anybody else. So yeah, I just try to focus on myself, focus on my healing, see what I want to be in my journey, and go there. Just start to establish small habits and try to focus on the person that I want to become. And I turned from being I want to be this person or I want to be a healthy person to I am a healthy person.
Mm.
So just changing these talks like I'm not gonna wait until I become this healthy person, or I'm not gonna be I'm wait till this happens so I can be happy. No, I am happy with the resources that I have now, and I am healthy with the resources that I have now. And I always like think, what would a successful happy person do, or what would a healthy person um what would a healthy person do? So if I'm going through any situations, I try to envision in my head the person that I wanted to become, and see what would they do in this situation, and I try to do it.
Oh wow, I really learned a lot, techniques and tips you're mentioning. I love the ideas of muting yourself because that is what something I have learned through, meditations as well. That a lot of time we tend to seek outwards, we are looking for people advice, what we should do this and that. But the most important is sometimes it's important for us to go inwards because we have that wisdom, we have that clarity in us. We just need to have enough space for ourselves to be able to realize that. And I love what you mentioned as well, envisioning. Sometimes we think that, what we wanted to become is the most important is we have to believe that we have in ourselves first and we start it today rather than planning for tomorrow or the day after. Yeah, so really, really
Yes.
love that. Yeah, really love that. So is there anything, since you are mentioning, envisionings about, you focus on yourself and work into a version that you wanted to become. So let's say, play a game with me. Imagine that you are jumping on a time machine and then you can travel back in time and see yourself 5 years ago. What would you tell her?
I would tell her to believe in herself and to just believe in herself and trust the process, because sometimes we give up on ourselves. Sometimes we do things and then when we don't see results right away, we give up
Mm,
and we think that it's not working. So I would say just trust the process, try to just focus and really be grounded, because I feel 5 years ago I wasn't present in the moment, and I was very, very just I wasn't focused on myself. I was focused on everyone's opinion and everybody's around me, and giving time and giving love before even giving it to myself. So I wasn't really present for myself. I
mm,
was just present for others, and it was really exhausting. So I would say just trust in the process, love yourself enough, you are worthy and you are loved, and trust the process and take it one step at a time.
mm. Okay, got it. Thank you so much for sharing. And I want, I'm curious as well because personally I have experienced it. Um, there are times, there might be a very thin line between spending time on yourself, focusing on yourself versus, socializing, being with others and
Mhm.
healthy, meaningful connections. So how would you create this healthy balance and boundaries between, having enough time for yourself at the same time having enough time to create meaningful connection with people around you? Yeah.
So I guess it's really important to listen to our body and what we need at this exact moment.
Mm.
Sometimes what I do is, sometimes when I feel that there's a lot of thoughts and my mind is just conflicting with ideas, and when there's a lot of what is it called, when my mind is not clear enough and there's a lot of like things going on in my head, sometimes what I like to do is just really focus on myself and ground myself and start journaling or do some self-care practices to really get clarity of what exactly do I want. But sometimes, other times, I need that connection with other people. I need that in my life. I need to go out and I need to see my friends, and I need to check in with them and see what they're up to and have these meaningful connections. So it's really all about listening to your body and what do you need at this time. Do you it's called like balanced energy, I guess. Like, what are the things that you're gonna do to give into your energy, and what are the things that you're doing that is taking away from your energy. So if I'm in a place where I feel like very drained with my energy, what is gonna fill my cup right now? Is it going out and hang out with friends? Is it time for myself? So it's all that we're all different, as you know. We with our holistic approach, we believe in bio individuality. So one person is different than another. I'm an introvert person,
Mm.
so I like more to, tune into myself, and I like to, this is where I get my energy. For example, my sister, she's an extrovert. She would get her energy from going out and connecting with other people. So it's really about listening to yourself and not taking other people's opinions as well, because sometimes they might give you an opinion, but but sometimes it's not always the right thing to do. You just have to see what you really need.
I can really resonate with that because I'm an introvert as well, and a lot of time being introvert, people will it is very easily being misunderstood. You know, they might think that you are either shy or you are cold and
Yes.
you don't want it to, be with other people, or you don't want it to get socializing. But I really get what you mentioned. Sometimes we just get really drained, and we get exhausted being surrounded by so many people, and we just need time to energy and stabilize, recharge, and then we can go out to the world and socializing, and be able to connect it well with other people again. So I really really love that. And so talking about introverts, and I'm sure there's a lot of women who are listening to this conversation are also probably an introvert, and especially you are working in HR, where is requiring you to be able to talk and connect with people on daily basis. So what are your tips for introverts, especially to be able to successfully doing well and be able to still be themselves and doing their job well in workplace?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question because I do work in HR. I do a lot of recruitment. I do a lot of interviews for people. I sometimes do a lot of training as well, soft skills training, and I do talk to a lot of people. But being an introvert in HR, I feel that as I told you, like I do have my days. Sometimes I'm an introvert that I just want to be by myself, and other days I actually am okay talking to people, because also being an introvert, that doesn't mean that you're 100% introvert. That just means that for the majority of the part that you're an introvert. But sometimes I love connecting with people, and I guess I love also being very organized. I love to know things in advance. So being in HR gives me this space. Like I know that I'm going into an interview like in an hour or tomorrow, or giving myself this time to know ahead of time what I'm going to. This gives me, the clarity to have my notes down, and just, going into these meetings prepared. So I guess preparation and being organized is really important for me as an introvert.
Yeah, I see, I see. And thank you so much for sharing this with me because I feel the same way as well. And I feel that sometimes as an introvert, we take a lot of time to process our thoughts. And sometimes by being
Yeah.
by writing it down, by having ahead of time to actually know exactly how our day is going to be turned out, what kind of conversation we're going to have, actually help us to be prepared and be more calm. And I love that you have that kind of structure and framework with you, so that you can still be yourself at the same time, be able to create a meaningful connection with people around you. So again, thank you so much to agreeing to be a part of Project 35. And before I let you go, is there any things that you would like to share with the audience, especially for women who listen to our conversation today? Yeah.
Well, I'm really happy to be a part of Project 35. I think it's a really great project that you're working on, Tiffany, to learn from each other experiences and learn from each other, because it's really important to have this community of women, or a community in general, where we feel supported. As I said, as women, like we mentioned, that we go through a lot of stress, we go through a lot of changes in our bodies and in our mindset. So having this community just help us, always keep going, feel supported, feel grounded, and yeah, develop and learn from each other. So thank you so much for this.